When dealing with radiant heat in ceilings, especially when planning to install recessed lighting, a careful approach is essential. Locating the radiant heat pipes is the initial and most critical step. Firstly, consider using a thermal imaging camera. This tool allows you to detect areas with high heat signatures, directly indicating the presence of radiant heat pipes within the ceiling. Secondly, trace the 12-2 wire originating from the thermostat. Follow this wire as it enters the attic to determine its path and identify the location of the radiant heat pipes. Thirdly, employ a stud finder. Radiant heat pipes are commonly installed between ceiling joists or rafters. The stud finder will help locate these structural members, enabling you to check for heat pipes nearby. Now let's discuss essential safety precautions. Before starting any electrical work, it is crucial to shut off the power to the radiant heat system at the main electrical panel. This prevents electrical shock and ensures a safe working environment. It is imperative not to cut the loop. Radiant heat systems are typically designed as a continuous loop. Cutting any portion of the wire disrupts the electrical flow and disables the entire system. Exercise caution when drilling. When drilling into the ceiling, be aware of the potential for encountering radiant heat pipes. If you hit any metal obstructions while drilling, immediately stop and consult a qualified professional. When installing recessed lights, careful planning is paramount. Firstly, determine the desired locations for the recessed lights. Ensure these locations do not conflict with the existing radiant heat pipes. Secondly, always use a properly sized junction box when splicing into the radiant heat loop. This enclosure ensures safe and secure electrical connections. Thirdly, insulate all electrical connections by wrapping them with electrical tape. Then cover them with junction box covers to prevent any electrical shorts. After installing the recessed lights, test the system to ensure it's functioning correctly. Turn on the radiant heat system and verify that it is operating properly. Here are some additional tips. Contact the manufacturer of the radiant heat system. Obtain specific installation and safety instructions tailored to the particular system in place. If you lack confidence or qualifications to work on electrical systems, it is best to hire a licensed electrician. Radiant heat systems can be complex, demanding caution and meticulous attention to detail in all work undertaken. Now let's discuss the electrical aspects in more detail. Understanding the wiring and connections is vital for safe and effective installation. When dealing with electrical wiring, several National Electrical Code, or NEC, articles are particularly relevant. Firstly, NEC Article 300.14 addresses the length of free conductors at outlets and junction boxes. Ensure you leave at least 6 inches, or 150 mm, of free conductor at each outlet, junction box, or access point for making splices or connections. Secondly, NEC Article 310.15 covers ampacity, the current carrying capacity of conductors. Select conductors with an ampacity rating suitable for the circuit's maximum current. Refer to NEC tables like 310.15b16 for specific ampacity values based on conductor size, insulation type, and ambient temperature. Thirdly, NEC Article 406.4 pertains to receptacles in damp or wet locations. When installing receptacles in such areas, use weather-resistant receptacles and appropriate covers to prevent moisture ingress. Fourthly, NEC Article 408.3 addresses circuit directories. Ensure that all circuits in the panel board are clearly labeled with their purpose or the area they serve. Fifthly, NEC Article 110.3b requires that all equipment be installed and used according to the manufacturer's instructions. Follow the manufacturer's guidelines for installing and connecting electrical components. It's also important to consider voltage drop in electrical circuits, which can affect the performance of electrical equipment, especially over longer distances. Voltage drop is the reduction in voltage that occurs along a conductor due to its impedance and the current flowing through it. Excessive voltage drop can cause lights to dim, motors to run inefficiently, and other equipment to malfunction. The NEC recommends limiting voltage drop to no more than 3% for branch circuits and 5% for feeders. To calculate voltage drop, use the following formula: voltage drop equals 2 times the current times the length of the conductor times the impedance per unit length, all divided by 1000. The impedance per unit length depends on the conductor size, material, and temperature. You can find impedance values in NEC Chapter 9, Table 8. To minimize voltage drop, consider using larger conductors or shortening the circuit length. Also, ensure that all connections are tight and free of corrosion to reduce resistance. When working with electrical circuits, it's essential to have the right tools and equipment. Firstly, use a non-contact voltage tester to verify that the power is off before working on any circuit. This tool can detect the presence of voltage without making direct contact with the wires. Secondly, use insulated screwdrivers and pliers to prevent electrical shock. These tools have rubber handles that provide insulation from electrical current. Thirdly, use a wire stripper to remove insulation from wires without damaging the conductors. Choose a wire stripper that is appropriate for the size of the wires you are working with. Fourthly, use a multimeter to measure voltage, current, and resistance in electrical circuits. This tool can help you troubleshoot electrical problems and verify that circuits are operating correctly. Fifthly, use a circuit breaker finder to identify the circuit breaker that controls a particular outlet or fixture. This tool can save you time and effort when troubleshooting electrical problems. When making electrical connections, it's important to use the right connectors and techniques. Firstly, use wire connectors such as wire nuts or push-in connectors to join wires together securely. Ensure that the connectors are properly sized for the number and size of the wires you are connecting. Secondly, use electrical tape to insulate wire connections and prevent electrical shorts. Wrap the tape tightly around the connections, overlapping each layer. Thirdly, use cable staples to secure cables to studs or joists. This prevents the cables from being damaged or pulled loose. Fourthly, use conduit fittings to connect conduit to electrical boxes or enclosures. Ensure that the fittings are properly sized for the conduit and that they are tightened securely. When working with electrical panels, it's important to follow safety precautions and procedures. Firstly, wear safety glasses and gloves to protect your eyes and hands. Secondly, use a voltmeter to check the voltage at the panel before working on any circuits. Thirdly, never work on a live electrical panel unless you are a qualified electrician. Fourthly, use a circuit breaker lockout device to prevent circuits from being accidentally energized while you are working on them. Fifthly, keep the panel area clear of obstructions and flammable materials. Regarding specific concerns about the absence of a junction box, it's crucial to address this issue properly. The NEC requires that all splices and connections be made inside approved enclosures. If the 12-2 wire from the thermostat currently dies into the sheetrock without a junction box, this is a code violation and a potential safety hazard. Correct this by installing a junction box at the location where the splice is made. Ensure the junction box is accessible, meaning it is not concealed behind drywall or other building materials. Choose a junction box that is appropriately sized for the number and size of conductors and connectors it will contain. Securely mount the junction box to a structural member, such as a stud or joist. Make all splices and connections inside the junction box using approved methods, such as wire connectors or terminal blocks. Cover the junction box with a blank cover to protect the connections and prevent accidental contact. By following these guidelines and safety precautions, you can safely and effectively locate radiant heat pipes and ceilings and install recessed lighting while minimizing the risk of electrical hazards or damage to the heating system. Remember, if you are unsure about any aspect of the work, consult a qualified electrician for assistance.